In March of 2003, my sister died.
When something like this can affect a whole tree of life, a whole family, it's devastating.
Les symptômes sont tellement peu significatifs qu'il faut vraiment être au courant, il faut vraiment les connaître.
I will do the very best I can with the time I have left. Nobody knows how much time that is.
Ovarian and breast cancers are associated together in some families, where you find cases of breast cancer and ovarian cancer in each generation.
In January of 2002, my daughter was diagnosed with breast cancer. When she was diagnosed, I was checked for ovarian cancer, which I had stage 3 with metastases.
Je suis la 14e victime du cancer dans ma famille.
My sister Marla was diagnosed when she was 39 years old with breast cancer.
It wasn't until after her diagnosis that we realized there was the potential for a genetic link.
In the quest to isolate the genes responsible for hereditary breast and ovarian cancer, researchers discovered 2 genes, BRCA1 and BRCA2. These genes preserve the integrity of our genetic code. If a mutation in one of the genes occurs, the code is broken. The broken code often results in uncontrollable cell growth, the hallmark of cancer. The BRCA gene mutation can be passed on from either the mother or the father. Children have a 50% chance of inheriting the gene, and their children will have a 50% chance, and so on.
BRCA1 and BRCA2 are actually a little bit different, but one thing that distinguishes BRCA1 breast cancer, it tends to happen in younger women.
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, my doctor told me that I should be tested for the gene because I am of Ashkenazi descent and because I was very, very young.
1 in 40 Ashkenazi Jewish people will carry a mutation in BRCA1 or 2, whereas in the general population that number is probably 1 in 200 to 1 in 400. So quite a big difference.
The mutations in BRCA1 and BRCA2 are also quite frequent in the French-Canadian population. Although the frequency is not as high as the Jewish population, it is higher than in other ethnic groups.
Ovarian cancer is a very difficult disease to diagnose, and that's partly because of where the ovaries are situated, which is deep in the pelvis at the back. They're very small organs, the size of an almond in most women.
So women do not feel the disease developing. By the time it grows, it will give vague symptoms.
And at that time, the prognosis is extremely poor. Probably only about a third or a quarter of such women actually survive.
80% sont au stade 3 et 70% en meurent avant 5 ans.
It is exactly 10 years since the gene of BRCA1 and BRCA2 have been discovered. The information has been spreading slowly.
Even the really excellent doctors that are dealing with this are not aware of how important the BRCA test is.
My mother was a very special person, and seeing something like a gene take her away, something that she could have known about, something that she could have done something about.
On n'était vraiment pas au courant. On n'avait jamais entendu parler des tests qui pouvaient être faits en génétique.
Most of our patients that see us have already had a diagnosis of breast cancer. Unfortunately, a lot of people that we don't see, which we would like to see, are just so paralyzed with fear about learning about breast cancer risks or cancer risks that they don't even come to see us.
If there's a strong family history, you must be tested. Because if you're tested, you can be saved. And if you're not, it often is too late.
And unfortunately, I tested positive as well. And I decided to have a mastectomy, which I did.
When I tested positive for the BRCA gene, it was recommended to me to do a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy and hysterectomy.
I will, in the coming years, before I'm 40, have a oophorectomy.
Some people decide to remove healthy tissue because of the risk faced, for example, breasts and or ovaries. That's an important decision, a difficult decision, and one that has to be made in consultation with physicians, family, friends.
There's so many different people that you have to consult with to find out what the best route is, and it's very overwhelming.
And one of the things the foundation can do is provide support for people who are facing these very difficult decisions.
Yeah, I got the preliminary layout on the newsletter. Yeah, it looks great, I think. Have a look.
Looks really nice.
We're going to do a direct mailing through the hospitals.
We thought starting this foundation was very important to help save other people from going through what we went through. We could help direct them who to talk to, what doctors to see, make sure they don't miss anything.
We've recently launched a website which is highly acclaimed by both healthcare professionals and the lay public as well.
I think what the foundation is doing is something that's actually very important. It's raising awareness, but it's also focusing on research.
We have a board of directors and a medical board who meet every couple of months and decide what's important, what should the foundation work on, where should our money be spent.
We are putting on an annual symposium for a group of world scientists to get together to discuss the future hot topics, the future research initiatives that have to be undertaken in breast and ovarian cancer gene research. There are smaller events such as the walk around the block.
The younger children learn what it is to help others. The older kids really learn more about what our foundation is about.
You may feel that this is something that's very isolating, that you feel that you can't share this with other people because it's frightening, and also there's issues of having passed this on to other people.
When I first found out I had the gene, the first thing I could think of was my children, especially my daughter. I hope that they have better options than I had.
There are many things that mothers and daughters should share. Chemotherapy is definitely not one of them.
Je suis condamnée, sûrement. Mais je me dis, il y a toujours de l'espoir. Sauf que je veux aussi garder le côté réaliste de ma maladie. J'en parle même avec ma fille de 8 ans. C'est important qu'elle sache que oui, sa maman peut peut-être partir.
When Judy and I were both undergoing chemotherapy, my then 9-year-old granddaughter asked me, "Bubby, you have cancer. Mummy has cancer. Am I going to get cancer?" And unfortunately, I couldn't answer her. The best I could say is that I certainly hope not. And I certainly hope that by the time she grows up, there will be a cure. And if enough research is done, then I'm confident that there will be.
I would have done anything to have known that something like this could have been in my family.